Hey guys, it's the second Monday of our 3-week journey being out on the road here. We are in Dade City, Florida. There's a couple of deliveries that I got you guys a little bit of footage of, or more so a couple of pickups. I had a pickup in I believe Virginia for some steel, and I had a pickup for some lumber that was coming out of North Carolina that I got you guys a little bit of footage for. Now it's about 7:15 in the morning. I parked at this pilot that's just outside of Tampa, and I got here, well, I started driving pretty much as soon as my 34-hour reset was over on Sunday. I got on the road about 10:45 in the morning, and my plan was to drive and get here to Florida, like about 30 miles out from the consignee, since there's no on-site parking. I want to get here as soon as possible, you know, so like figured, you know, I had better or less competition to deal with for parking when I got here. I got here at 6:30 roughly in the evening, and the parking lot was completely full, like not a single space left, and that usually does not happen somewhere this early. But certain spots, I think this is like very similar to Atlanta, where the parking spots or the truck parking availability is just not very good, and all the drivers know it. So the truck stops and rest areas that are anywhere near the city get flooded very quickly because everybody knows what the deal is. And fortunately, I was able to squeeze in along the outskirts of the truck stop parking lot, because there was nothing. I looked on Trucker's Path, there was no other truck stops anywhere near here. There was a rest area that was like 11 minutes away, but that's it, that was completely full as well. And I was like, I'll have a better opportunity to find like a nook to park in this truck stop than trying to go to the rest area. And you know, there's definitely fewer spots there than there are here. You know, I was thinking maybe somebody will move at the truck stop, somebody will need to leave, and I'll be able to squeeze into a spot. But I had to just kind of squeeze in along the sides, and that was fine until this morning. I slept up. Well, with me stopping so soon, you know, my clock refreshed roughly 4 something in the morning, so I had all of my time back. But somebody came knocking on my door. I think it was one of the pilot workers, and they were like, hey, I'm gonna need you to move over, you know, there's parking spots in the back now, so you can go get one of those. And I'm like, okay, cool. And it wasn't just me, it was myself and about 4 other drivers kind of squeezed in along the area where I was. So you got to be ready for that. If you go to somewhere to park and you're not in an actual official parking spot, you know, you got to be ready, you know, at least planning ahead of time, you know, when you actually park, you know, what you might do if you have to move for whatever reason. But fortunately for me, I already had all my time back. Plus the bonus, this particular truck stop, there was a company authorized truck wash literally right in the same plaza as the truck stop that I stayed at. So I'm like, okay, instead of moving, well, I'm gonna move, but let me not just go find another place to park in the lot and go back to sleep. You know, it's 6:30, I'm about to get up and start my clock or get ready to start working right around 7 anyway. Let me just go to this truck wash, because I'm not on the must wash list like the company. We have to get our trucks washed at least every other week, but you're allowed to get it washed once a week if you want. So like, I'm not actually due for a wash until I think the end of this week, like Friday or something like that. But I was like, let me just go ahead and get it washed, you know, a little bit early, you know. That way, one less thing for me to watch out for at the end of the week, and I don't have to worry about budgeting my time for that. So knocked that out. Now I got my clock started. We're just waiting a little bit for our pre-trip. I already got out and actually checked everything, you know, and did the normal pre-trip like I would. But now we just have to wait for it to all log in on our clock here for the 10 minutes that we have to wait. And I'm gonna head off to the consignee to deliver this load. I'm saying that I'm an hour away from the consignee, but fortunately, by the time I get done with that, I know my fleet manager is already going to be in the office up and running, so we shouldn't have to wait very long for a load. So we're running for the end of this week, and I think that I have service. I think I have to take the truck in for maintenance the end of this week as well. So we'll see what we can get into along the way. I don't know, like, excuse me, since we're down here in Florida, I don't know if they're going to send me to pick up from the ports. Probably not. Tampa's kind of like in the middle of Florida. I'm not really by the edges. So we'll see. We'll see what we have. I'm sure I'll get something that's going to send me far from here, since I don't need to be routed anywhere near home, at least not until the end of the week. I don't have to be routed home, but I have to be routed to the terminal that I'm going to for the service. So I think up at least until, you know, Thursday or Wednesday, I'll be, you know, just running the roads until they need to send me to where I'm going. Let's go ahead and see what's up for this week. All right, what's up, guys? We're here getting unloaded for the load we pulled over the weekend right now, and it is hot. It is hot. We're in Florida, so that's to be expected. It's humid, and it's February still, towards the tail end of February, and I believe that it is 72 degrees right now. Nope. It's 64 degrees, but because of the humidity, it feels like it's 75 right now, which is comfortable. But with me working, it's making me hot. I'm sweating, as you guys can see. Look at that. All I did was take down my tarps, roll them up, and pull down the straps. But the sun is beaming out here. It is beaming. It's hot. It's the kind of weather where you want to just be at a water park swimming around. But let me see if I can get you guys some of this unload footage. They're just about empty with me here, so let's get that, and then we're gonna figure out where we're gonna go to wait for our next dispatch, because there is, as you can see, no space to stick around here. I mean, there's material everywhere. I mean, and that right there is pretty much straight ahead. That's like a residential area that I'm gonna have to drive through to get back out of here. There is literally no space to hang around here at all. I had to take my tarps down directly across the street from this consignee, basically in the employee parking area. This place is super full, but let me see if I can get a quick shot of the unload for you guys. What's up, guys? The eruditetrucker back again. I'm having a heck of a start to this week. I am in Florida right now, not too far from Tampa, but ever since I've been down here, I've been here since Sunday. I mean, I've been having a heck of a time. Started off all right. You know, I had a really high-paying load that brought me down here. I picked it up in Tennessee, delivered it down here, just outside of Tampa. But when I got here on Sunday, the truck stop that I had gotten to was completely filled up, and I got there at 6:30 p.m., which normally in most places that's going to be plenty of time, you know, early enough to be able to find a good parking spot when you get there, you know, assuming like the truck stop that I had picked out had 180 parking spaces in it, and that's a pretty sizable amount, especially when you get somewhere as early as I did, 6:30 p.m. But nope, not this time. It's just like when I was in Atlanta. It was completely filled up really early in the day, and I mean not a single spot left. I was fortunately able to, you know, find a little spot where I could squeeze in on the outer perimeter of the truck stop. That worked out, but until the morning, somebody came knocking on my door. The one thing that every driver dreads happening to them. You know, somebody came knocking on the door from inside the truck stop, one of the workers there, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, I'm gonna need you to move out of this spot. You know, you can try to go find another parking spot around the back. There should be some spots available now," because it was 6:30 a.m. when they knocked on there. Okay, and so I was able to go find something, you know, somewhere safe to park. That was cool. Done. Got the load delivered after that, but the load that I had to pick up after I delivered that first one that paid a lot was the exact opposite. It paid garbage. I'm talking like, it was so low I don't even want to say what it was. It was trash. It was not meant to be like a single load for the entire day, which is what it ended up being. It was meant to be like, deliver that one, go pick something else up same day, and then go head in the direction of delivering that one. That didn't work out because that first load that I picked up was a load from the Home Depot distribution center out in around I believe it was around somewhere around Tampa. And that load took me 2.5 hours to deal with because like the loads are pre-tarped, which is a good thing. It was a preload, but the thing about that is it's an irregular load. With the loads that are from like Home Depot or Lowe's distribution centers, they're like a whole medley of different things. It can be like lumber with shingles, with plastic piping, with who knows whatever else. I mean, I've had ladders mixed in with loads like that, and you just don't know. You can't just easily just go take it and hook your trailer up to, or hook your tractor up to it and then just go. You got to look underneath that tarp and see and make sure that every piece of that freight, like all those loose pieces, you have to make sure that all of those pieces have a piece of securement holding them down, because in some spots, you know, it may be like a single strap where you need to have another strap a little bit farther along the way to make sure everything is securely held down. And it just takes a lot of time. I mean, in my mind, it's a lot of work for not a lot of pay when you're doing it like I was for like a long haul versus a dedicated guy. Those guys, you know, they're hauling like 2, maybe 3 of those loads a day, depending on how far away they got to drive them. But that sucked. It was hot. It was very hot. It was like high 70s, and it's like towards the end of February right now, you know, down here in Florida, which is good if you're going to be out just, you know, chilling or at a water park or going to do like a cookout or something. It's great. But when you have to work, you know, physically, you know, be active, you know, you get hot very quickly, and I have to wear pants when I'm doing my work, you know, for safety reasons. So like there's that added element of, you know, overheating possible since you can't wear shorts. And that load, since, well, let me go like this. What the way that load was, I was not going to be able to deliver that load same day before the Home Depot store that I needed to deliver to ended their receiving hours. So I ended up having to take that low-paying load. I got to the consignee no problem. It was only a 4-hour drive from where I was, but I had to sit on that low-paying load overnight, which sucked. I was not a fan of that, but it's like, what can you do? You know, unless you're an owner-operator, you know, you can't really control, you know, that, something like that. You know, you just got to deal with what you're given at the time. But got that delivered, and that brings us to where we are now. You know, I got started untarping that load at Home Depot 6:45 this morning, and I got done with that. They didn't start actually unloading me until like a little bit after 8. And I'm like, geez, okay, this is taking a while. Then after that, I ended up having to sit and wait for dispatch, because in Florida, you can find loads that will bring you down here, you know, that pay fairly well or very well, like the one I had that brought me down here. But getting yourself back out of here can be a bit of a chore, you know, especially if you're trying to get something decent. So I ended up sitting for a couple hours. I didn't get dispatched again until 10:45 a.m. and that brought me here to where I am. And the load that I'm supposed to be picking up from here was set for an appointment at 10 a.m. but I didn't get dispatched until about 10:45. So you see the problem with that. Appointment was 45 minutes before I even got dispatched on this load, which, you know, sometimes, you know, I'll get information that says that, and the shipper is pretty lax, they don't care, you know. But this place, I found out, is pretty strict on appointments, you know. So they said that they can try to work me in, maybe, or they might not be able to do it at all. So I'm sitting here stuck on that, and we'll see what we can get going, because if we get this one, loaded. It's delivering to the same Home Depot distribution center that I picked yesterday's load up from. Needless to say, I don't really want to go back there, you know, and deal with that again. But I'm gonna have to deliver this load there, and I'll be picking up another preload out of that place, I'm quite sure, and delivering that hopefully somewhere out of Florida. Get me out of here. Send me up to Georgia or something. Get me out of here. But that's the beginning of my week so far. I'm not really enjoying what's going on. Like I said, I've been here. It's about 2 o'clock right now, actually. About 2 o'clock, and I got here just about 2 hours ago. So we're not gonna know for sure what's happening here. And you got me, and then you got another company guy way off back there. If you can see that little blur back there. So he was here before I was, so I'll be waiting at least long enough for him to get taken care of. He's probably in the same situation that I am. He might have got hit with something where he was here after his appointment time. I guess nothing can do but sit and chill, but seems to be pretty tried and true for me, at least. If I ever want the process to speed up, or I ever want a dispatch to hurry up and get to me, all I got to do is start getting comfortable or decide I want to go back into the bunk and take a nap. And then before you know it, somebody's knocking on my door, or I'm getting a phone call, or I hear that ping on my Trimble there to let me know that I got dispatched, or somebody's ready to load me or something, just as soon as I get ready to relax. So maybe I'll give that a shot and see if that'll happen this time. We'll see what's going on once this actually starts moving a little bit. All right, it's about 2 hours later, 2.5, and we got loaded finally, so we can get some traction on this. Show you guys what I got. It's lumber. It's packaged, or painted at least. I think it's painted. You guys can check that out. It's pretty tall. It's probably got the trailer up at 13.6 now, or the full height with the load on it. So with this stuff, it's not that heavy. It's about 33,000 some odd pounds, I believe. So it's not bad. But what I have to watch out for, since this is a high profile load, you'll have to be even more careful when you're taking your turns or going around bends in the road. You don't want to go too fast with a high profile load like this. Have the load shift to you, since it's got a higher center of gravity. You don't want to topple over and end up on your side. So standard practice with the straps. These bundles, I believe, were about 11 feet long, so they needed 3 straps for each section to hold it down. And I have 3 different areas right there, as you can see. So section 1, 3 straps, section 2, 3 straps, and then we got this back end here that only has 1 tier on it, but still gets 3 straps. And for these, since they were so tall, I put a twist in the strap to reduce any vibration, you know, just to make it a little bit more stable. I have to put a tarp on this. I mean, it kind of, that point is kind of moot, I suppose, since the wind's not really going to touch it, but there's nothing wrong with doing it. So there's no fall protection here, but fortunately, the way this stuff is stacked, I'll be able to like kind of climb up on top of that, and I have to tarp it from up there. I don't really want to have to do that, but I've got no alternative, since they don't have any ladders here or any harnesses for me to get on or to put on. So we'll go ahead and throw this tarp and get out of here. I believe the delivery location is only about 4.5 hours away, and I should be picking up preload from there. I haven't really formulated a plan for how far I'm going to try to drive that, because I don't know exactly where that's going to be taking me to. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but let's go ahead and get this load tarped. All right, got this stuff all tarped up, but since it's so late in the afternoon, it's about 3:30 or 4, so I'm not going to be able to deliver this today, just because the distribution center does not have 24-hour receiving, and after that you can't park on site overnight, so there's no point in even flying over there for that. But we'll check out what we got here. Looking nice and streamlined. Had to be very careful climbing up there because there's no ladders. Like I said, no fall, bro, but got it done. Had my helmet on, of course. We're safe, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here because Florida's parking situations are not good. So I want to get on the road and get to a truck stop or rest area as soon as possible so that we can secure ourselves a spot and rest for the night and get this thing off the trailer in the morning as soon as possible so we can get a proper dispatch to get ourselves up out of Florida, because this particular trip down in Florida that I had has not been my favorite one because of the stuff that I mentioned earlier. But that's how it goes sometimes. We'll get it knocked out and we'll be making money somewhere else. So let's go ahead and get started. What's up, guys? It's the next morning. We drove for a couple hours after we picked up from that shipper last night, but ran into a little snag again. It was one that I was prepared for and expecting to happen. We got a couple hours in, as I said, got to a rest area here after I did my first load check. I was going to do a secondary load check at this place, and I checked Trucker Path for my originally planned parking space for the night, and it was showing that it was completely full. And I looked at all of the other truck stops slash rest areas along my way. I think there was one rest area aside from the one that I stopped at, and like 5 different truck stops that would have been along my way. And I kid you not when I say every single one of them showed as full on Trucker Path. And Trucker Path, when you're looking on their app, it'll show you when it shows you the availability on the parking spaces. If you look down, it'll also show you like when the last time was that somebody updated the availability. So like all of the places that I was looking at said that they were full within an hour. So that means like I checked at 6:30. That means somebody checked and updated that app. Like it has to be like a driver or somebody that's at that place, and they updated it like within an hour of me looking previously and said that the lots were all completely full. And as I had said earlier, Florida's parking availability is not very good. It's not very good, and pretty much all the drivers know about it. So you have to get parked up really early unless you're going to be able to reserve a spot. And it was like 6:30, as I said, when I stopped here. And I'm thinking if it's all full right now, it's not going to become more available as the evening goes on. So I still have 2 hours ahead of me to get to where I was going, which kind of stinks because I had 8 hours on my clock, maybe a little bit more at the time when I stopped. But it doesn't matter how many hours you have on your clock if you don't have an available parking spot when you're ready to stop. I can't just park in the middle of the road. I can't just park on the side of the highway. So, you know, I just called it quits, played it safe, stayed parked here where I had a secured, safe parking space at this rest area. Yeah, I'm 2 hours out, but I'm safe. I have peace of mind. I'm not gonna have to wake up in the middle of the night, move my truck. Not gonna have a DOT officer knocking on my door saying, hey, you can't park here, anything like that. So that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. You know, everything is not gonna go 100% smoothly all of the time. Really, it just depends on how you look at it. I mean, because in my mind, this parking spot where I am here, it was like pretty much the second to last spot at this rest area. So in my mind, that worked out in my favor. It was a good night for me because I had a safe parking spot, and I actually already have a preload waiting for me after I deliver this one, so I don't have to stress about that. You know, pretty much it's going to be a drop and hook picking up from that same distribution center like I was expecting. It's going to be a drop and hook. I'll get rid of this one. I don't think I'm even going to have to take down my securement and my tarps or anything. I think I'm just going to swap out the trailer for a new one and get my equipment off of that. So that's a positive thing. And we're going to get moving. I think this next load is going to take us up to Jacksonville, which is funny, is where I just was, a different location, but same area. I'm pretty certain after that I'm gonna be shooting somewhere up north. I gotta be, actually, because I'm gonna have to go to South Carolina the end of this week for some business here. So let's go ahead and get ourselves set, do our pre-trip, get on the road, get this load delivered, and get rolling. What's up, guys? It's the next day, the next morning rather, and we picked up that preload from the distribution center as I expected yesterday, and like I said, it sent me back up to Jacksonville. But man, let me tell you, the fun didn't stop. You know, over the past couple of days, I told you all the stuff that I had going on that was, you know, giving me some little speed bumps, you know, to my progress this week. And that definitely didn't change last night, or maybe even this morning. After I picked up that preload, I had a 3-hour, 45-minute drive back up to Jacksonville to a Home Depot to deliver that preload. And I was scheduled, or my appointment time was supposed to be for 9 p.m., basically when the store was going to be closed. I guess it was going to be their night crew that was going to be unloading the trailer. And I was going to get there around 7:45-ish, according to my trip planning that I was doing, and when I was going to be leaving. I got 1 hour up the road, heading up 75 north for my trip. And the highway is at a complete stop on the fast lane, left-hand side, and on the right side, the slow lane there. On the shoulder, on both of those sides, there is just a row of semi-trucks going straight down. And I don't know what's going on. Nobody's talking on the radio. I check on my radio, I say, hey, what's up, what's going on? Nobody says anything, so I'm like, all right, I'm assuming like something's going on the highway, of course, and I'm thinking maybe somebody's got to back up, maybe an oversized load, you know, missed the turn and they can't go forward, they got to come back, they shut the highway down, maybe the police did, because it was too organized looking. Everybody was on the side, so I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a spot on the shoulder to go over myself as well, because I don't know what's ahead of me, and it's like a blind bend around the corner. I don't want to go forward into something and, like, you know, be in a bad position. So I find a little pocket on the shoulder and I get over, put my hazards on as well. And like I said, traffic is dead. Nothing is moving. There's a completely open pathway going down the highway as far as I could see up until that bend coming around up ahead of me. And everybody's parked on the side. Four-wheelers are just the ones going through because they, of course, they don't know what's going on. They can't hear anything. They don't have the radios. And what ended up happening, it wasn't a oversized backing up, but it was an issue with an oversized. What I eventually heard was that an oversized going up 75 north had actually been too tall and had hit a bridge up ahead. And it was at this point, I believe, around 5:30 or 6:30 at the point time when I had gotten to that area of the highway. And somebody had said that it had happened earlier in the day, like in the morning. And I'm like, that's bad. That's not good at all. Because I'm like, if it happened that long ago, you know, and stuff still, you know, stopped like this, I'm like, that doesn't bode well. That doesn't bode well. And, you know, and when you hit a bridge, you know, it's like not something that you can just bypass. I mean, I'm sure like somebody from the state had to come by and check the bridge and make sure like that it's structurally intact enough for it to be safe for people to travel over top of and underneath, because it was like an overpass basically that was going over 75, and I was on the underside of that overpass, so like I would be driving underneath it. But it was stuck. I was stuck there on the highway for 4 hours. I mean, when it did start moving a little bit, it moved bit by bit. I'm talking about like literally like 2 or 3 miles an hour. You drive up a little bit, scoot up some, traffic stops. Drive up some, scoot up some, traffic stops. I mean, it was awful. It was awful. And I ended up not getting moving again until 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Yeah, I mean, it was awful. I mean, when I finally started going, I had 2 hours left on my clock to drive, 2 hours and 20 some odd minutes to drive, and I had 2 hours left to get to the actual consignee there. So what I'm saying, that was a little confusing, is I had about 2 hours 20 minutes of drive time left on my clock. Mind you, when I first started, I had about 6 hours when that event started off. Right, I had 6 hours on my drive time, plenty of time to make it, more than enough. But with all the time that got burned from me being stuck in traffic, I barely made it to this Home Depot here. When I got here, I had 3 minutes left on my clock, and still had the same issue with Florida. I mean, there were a couple of truck stops. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Truck stops were full. I passed a couple of them, checked trucker path and drove past them, completely full. And I'm like, okay, I'm committed. I have to go. There's nowhere else for me to stop. No mom and pop truck stops or anything. I'm gunning it. And fortunately, like with me driving the speed limit, I didn't have to speed. I made it, like I said, by the skin of my teeth. 3 minutes left on my clock when I arrived here. But when I got here, there was no like, my appointment was for 9, but night dispatch said, like, okay, if you get there by midnight, I mean, this should be fine. I'm like, all right. I get here, it's 11:45, I believe, and the gate is already locked. Like, it's not one of those Home Depots where you can freely drive around the entire building. Like, you can drive around to the back. They had a gate blocking, so I couldn't even get in there. And I'm looking around like there's nobody out here. Like, there was nobody I can even contact, like, hey, like, I'm here, you guys can unload me. I know my appointment was a little while ago. You can unload me now, or let me see if I can get unloaded. There was nobody. There was nothing. So I'm like, okay, let me wait until the morning, get in the truck, go to sleep, get back up at 7 a.m. I go inside of the Home Depot, back to their receiving department. I'm like, hey, I got this load, you know, ready to be unloaded. I go around the back. They look at my paperwork, and they're like, well, we can't unload this one. This is stuff, we can't unload this until, you know, nighttime. I'm like, what? Like, it was I informed night dispatch about the whole situation, me being stuck in traffic and everything, and they were gonna contact the store and do what they needed to do. So I'm like, what do you mean? Because why can't you unload me now? Like, well, if we leave this stuff outside, you know, like, we gotta move people out of the store. If we leave it outside, somebody's gonna steal it. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, and, you know, I guess this is the kind of area where they got to worry about people stealing stuff outside if it's left, like store equipment. I don't know, but that's where I'm at right now, man. So, like, when it rains, it pours. At least that's what it seems like for this week. I mean, it's been one thing after the other, and I've been rolling with it. But like this one, my dispatcher is going through the motions to, you know, I guess talk to people he needs to talk to, see if I can still get unloaded earlier today and not have to wait, you know, until tonight to get this load off the trailer, because that's gonna throw a wrench in everything that I'm trying to do. But I'm waiting to see where this is gonna lead, and let's see. Yeah, I'll hopefully have an update for you guys, a positive one, with me getting unloaded and getting out of here, because I already have a pre-plan that I was given, where I'll be picking up a load and taking it up to South Carolina. Like, my shipping area for the pre-plan that I have is only 15 minutes away from this location where I'm at right now. So I definitely want to get that and get on up to South Carolina, because the trip up there is only going to be like 6.5 hours. So I mean, it's definitely going to be easy for me to knock out. You know, I just need to get things moving. So I'll get with you guys in a little bit, hopefully with some positive news and a smile on my face. All right, guys, bad news. Not getting unloaded until this evening at 9 p.m. because this load, this Home Depot, they don't unload this freight through the rear of the building. They don't take it in to the back of the store, and they don't leave it outside when they unload it. Some stores will do that, but this stuff only goes in through the front bay doors of the store, which is the same area where the customers would be walking around at. So there's absolutely no way that they're gonna unload me until tonight when the store closes at 9 p.m. Right now it's like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I've just been like waiting, messaging dispatch back and forth. You know, they're trying to get with the planner, and I'm sure the planner's trying to talk to whoever at Home Depot to see if they can do it, but I'm pretty certain at this point in time it's not going to happen. You know, so all we can do is just sit and relax. I'm annoyed, but I'm not gonna let myself get too worked up about it, because, you know, there's literally nothing that I can do to alter the situation. So being super angry and upset and let myself be stressed out about basically losing an entire workday sitting here is not gonna do anything positive or helpful for me, other than, you know, shoot my blood pressure up, you know, and and make me angry, you know. So just let it ride. Just one of those things, you know. It's giving me a story to tell you guys, because I want to keep it as real as I can for you guys out here. You know, let you know how trucking can be. It's not going to be, you know, all sunshine and rainbows and making a whole bunch of money every single day and every week, and every load's going to just work out for you phenomenally. You know, sometimes stuff like this happens, but you just got to roll with it, you know. So we're just gonna hang out, chill until around 8:30ish. Start taking straps and the tarps off and get ourselves prepared to be unloaded tonight. I have a pre-plan for tomorrow, actually, and that pre-plan has got me picking up some wallboard, which is actually only an hour away from here. I drive like an hour south of where I am, and then we'll be taking that load up to South Carolina. So that should be easy enough. I just need to get out of here. It's been a crazy, eventful week in Florida. I've spent literally the entire week in Florida. I got here this past Sunday, and it is Thursday, and I'm still here, you know, moving freight around. But that is how it is sometimes. So we'll go ahead and chill, guys. I'll get back with you once we have this freight off the trailer and we can actually get somewhere else and do something else, and be in a more positive lane for getting things done. So all right, guys, what's up? It's the next morning. We got unloaded last night. That was perfectly fine. There were a couple other company guys here getting unloaded. It didn't take very long at all, and I ended up staying at this same Home Depot, the parking lot, overnight. I didn't really see a reason to drive an hour last night around 11 o'clock when everything was said and done, you know, and my clock would have needed to sit for the 10 hours to get a full refresh, you know, and just because of the wonky stuff with you know, having to without going into too many details, you know, you have to be in a sleeper berth for a certain amount of time for your clock to reset properly. And I've got to go take the truck for service tomorrow, and, you know, I don't want to risk them, you know, driving the truck around and messing up my reset and a whole bunch of stuff that can be confusing with time to explain to you guys. So I just decided to stay here, do a full 10-hour reset, and that way in about 15 minutes or so here, my clock will be completely set, and I'll be able to just basically have a full fresh work day to go drive the hour to go pick this load up, and then I believe it's like 5 hours, 5.5 to take it up there to the terminal where I got to get it serviced. But I'm gonna have to stop for fuel first, actually, because this load, the one that I just delivered, I had 3/8 of fuel when I originally picked it up, but when I got it scaled at the truck stop, I came up weighing 79,800 pounds, and all of my axles were fine, but my gross weight was just close to that limit. And I did the math calculation that showed me how much weight I could afford to add onto the truck without being over 80,000 pounds gross. And I was only able to put like 25 gallons in there. So, you know, I stopped and put that little bit amount in there because I had slightly under 2/8 when I was getting close to this place, or when I got here now. So I'm just hovering above 1/8, and I don't want to drive like an hour down the road and, you know, risk, you know, running out of fuel or getting close or anything like that. So fortunately there's a pilot about 6 miles north of where I am, so I got to drive up north and then drive back down south that hour. So I got to drive about 16 minutes up the highway and then come back down here and go pick that load up. So that'll be fine. I'll get that taken care of. And then we will be heading up to the terminal to get the truck serviced for the weekend. And we are going to chill and forget all about the tribulations of this week, because this week sucked. This week sucked. It started off really well with a really high paying load that brought us down into Florida. But then after that, it was just spoonful after spoonful of trash that we had to eat all week. It sucked. It sucked. But next week's gonna be better. Not gonna have any problems like that. So we're gonna go ahead and get today started and get cleaning for the weekend. All right, guys, it's Sunday night. We got done with the service. I didn't record any of that. I was pretty much just hanging out at the terminal, waiting for them to get done with that. Ended up getting there around 7:30 p.m. on Friday night, and had to clean the truck out for them to do their appearance inspection. You know, it's when the service techs, they check everything inside the truck, and you have to make the truck on the inside, you have to make it showroom pretty. So basically sparkling, the mat's cleaned, everything wiped down. You don't have any anything hanging up in the truck that wouldn't be there if you had just got it as a new driver. So like no GPS units hanging up, no pictures, nothing, like I said, that wouldn't come in the truck stock. So by the time I got done clearing all that out and wiping everything down, it was like around probably around 10 p.m. I think, because I had to drop my trailer as well in the yard. But even without all of that, I got all that done, and they didn't get me, or they didn't get the truck pulled into the bay for the maintenance procedures until Saturday at 4 p.m. And it took them about 25 hours to get done with all that. They got done with the truck and it was ready for me to take back around 5:30 on Sunday, which put me in a position where I wasn't going to be able to get parked up in time today, because I was about 4 hours and some change away from the consignee, or the consignee for today. So I decided to just cut it off early. You know, I'm about an hour and a half away, even though I had more than enough time to get all the way there. I wasn't going to drive super late and put myself in a bad position to start my clock tomorrow, because this customer has on-site parking, but they have it set so once you get unloaded, you need to leave. Like, you can't hang out and wait to get dispatched on your next load. So I didn't want to arrive there, get unloaded, and then have my 10-hour or my 8-hour clock not be refreshed and they say I need to go somewhere else, and it would have just completely messed my clock up for the whole day, you know, doing something like that. So I just decided to stop short so I can have my clock reset at my leisure and leave when I'm ready to go without having anything disrupt my plans for tomorrow. So missing out on the park up points for one weekend is not gonna hurt me. I got all the park up points for the month prior to this week, so I'm not worried about it at all. I'm already sitting at a good percentage. Pretty sure that I'm sitting at 33% right now anyway, just 1% from the max of 34. So we're okay. Sometimes you have to be a little strategic, you know, with your plans for the day. You got to think ahead of what might happen, which is why I just didn't decide to go all the way to the consignee we'll start our week off fresh, and we're just gonna end it here, guys. Last week was eventful. It sucked. We're not gonna have a repeat of that. It's all uphill from here, guys. So, eruditetrucker out. Thanks for watching. You saw the mishaps in Florida. Hopefully they shall not be repeated. eruditetrucker out, guys.